We all think we know what space is, right? It's the empty box that everything sits in, a kind of giant, invisible grid. But what if that entire picture is completely backward? What if space isn't something we're in, but something that actually comes from us? We're about to dive into Martin Heidegger's radical idea that, believe it or not, we don't live in space, space lives in us.
So let me start by asking you a question. Just for a second, right now, look around you. How are you actually experiencing the world? Do you just see a bunch of objects, or is it something else entirely? It sounds simple, I know, but your answer gets at a huge philosophical divide.
So which is it? Is your world a collection of things sitting there in space, defined by their physical coordinates, or do you experience it more like a field of possibilities, a whole network of relationships where you are right at the center? This is the real conflict we're talking about, a world of just plain things versus a world brimming with meaning.
To really get what Heidegger's talking about, we first have to understand the idea he was fighting against. Let's call it the Cartesian gridlock, named after the philosopher René Descartes. You can think of it as the default map of reality that modern science, and let's be honest, most of us, use every single day without even thinking about it.
For Descartes, the idea was pretty straightforward. Space is just a neutral, three-dimensional container. And everything inside it, whether it's a coffee mug, the planet Jupiter, or even you, is just matter taking up a certain position. It's a world of pure, objective facts that can be perfectly measured with math and physics.
But Heidegger looked at this and saw a massive problem. He argued that Descartes doesn't actually describe the world. He dictates to the world what it's allowed to be, just a bunch of measurable objects. This reduces the rich, vibrant world of our actual experience to what he called mere thingliness. And the biggest issue? It reduces us, human beings, to just another thing on the grid. It completely misses what it actually feels like to be alive.
Okay, so if that Cartesian view is so wrong, what's Heidegger's alternative? Well, he offers us a world of significance, a world where things get their meaning not from their coordinates on a map, but from their purpose, from their relationship to what we're doing.
So, Heidegger comes up with this new idea he calls spatiality. And to get it, just think about this. Your friend on a video call on the other side of the planet can feel closer to you than the wall that's only 2 feet behind your head. See, spatiality isn't about meters and feet. It's about practical closeness. Something is near if it's part of what you're up to, if it's what he calls ready to hand. Picture a carpenter's workshop. A hammer isn't just some random object sitting there. It belongs with the nails, and the nails belong with the wood. They all exist in this web of equipment, a whole network of purpose. Their place is defined by the project, not by some abstract grid. That practical, hands-on context is what always comes first.
Now, here's the interesting part. We're usually so caught up in what we're doing that we don't even notice this network. We're just in the flow, right? But what happens when that flow gets broken? What happens when you reach for something and it's just not there?
That moment, that feeling of reaching for something that's gone, Heidegger says that's how a region gets revealed to us. A region is a place defined purely by its significance. You never ever think about the place where the saw hangs until you reach for the saw and it's missing. Suddenly, that specific spot on the wall, defined entirely by its purpose, becomes glaringly obvious. The region only shows up when things go wrong.
And this brings us to an even deeper point. See, Heidegger isn't just talking about the space of tools and workshops. He's talking about the space of our very existence. We are not objects in space. Our very way of being is spatial. We're constantly projecting a world of meaning around us.
All right, let me ask you a quick riddle. Right now, what is the one thing that's physically closer to you than almost anything else, but is probably the absolute furthest thing from your conscious mind? The answer? It's the glasses on your face. Or maybe the pen in your hand, or the chair you're sitting in. These things are literally touching you, but because they're so perfectly part of your activity, seeing, writing, sitting, they become invisible. They just disappear into the task at hand. When you're looking through your glasses, they are so practically close, so perfectly woven into your task of seeing, that they become invisible. In a way, they're actually further away from your conscious mind than the screen you're looking at They stop being objects and they become an extension of you.
Heidegger has a name for this, of course. He calls it de-distancing, our ability to bring things near to us in a practical, meaningful way. And here's the absolute kicker. De-distancing isn't something we do. It's not a skill we have. Heidegger argues that we are de-distancing. It's a fundamental part of what it means to be human.
Okay, so let's put all these pieces together. This is all building towards Heidegger's most mind-bending conclusion, what we can call the great philosophical inversion.
He is about to flip our entire common-sense understanding of space completely on its head.
And here it is, the great inversion. The common view is that the world and everything in it exists inside of space. Heidegger says, nope, you've got it all wrong. Geometric space is actually something that exists inside our world. And for him, world doesn't mean the planet. It means our lived, meaningful web of purposes and relationships. That experience is what comes first.
So how on earth does this work? Well, think of it in 3 steps. First, our fundamental starting point is being in the world. We are always already involved in a world of meaning and purpose. Second, this involvement creates our lived experience of spatiality, that practical sense of near and far. And only then, as a final step, can our minds strip away all that meaning to create the abstract idea of a neutral geometric space. The Cartesian grid doesn't come first. It's the last thing we figure out.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's this. You are not just a blue dot on a pre-existing map. You are the map maker. Your concerns, your projects, your engagement with the world, that's what creates the directions, the regions, and all the meaning. The world is spatial not because it's sitting in a box, but because you are here, living in it, and giving it shape.